All right, welcome back. So, the very first thing that we're going to do in this module is to explain again the portals that we're working with and how those things are related together. Um, so, we need to understand how to use the tools, right? In as much as we want to learn to deploy the agent, which is what we're going to do here. Part of deploying the system is to deploy an agent. So that's what we're going to be doing in this module. So what we're going to look at first is what is Azure AI Foundry, and what is something like Azure AI Foundry resource, why AI Foundry exists in the first place, right? The difference between AI Foundry, AI Hub, and projects, and how does the agent fit into play. So those things are confusing. The very first time I did this, I was also confused because it was like too many moving pieces, and you don't know how those things are interconnected. So yes, we can go and deploy the agent, but without you understanding the whole architecture, I know we've talked about it over and over again, but I'm just going to repeat again and make sure that it sticks. So we're going to start by defining what is known as the AI Foundry, right? So as you can see from my image here, there's something that's going on. You see that under AI Foundry, we do have systems. That's your models, that's your deployment, that's your search service, your storage, that's your security. So, and then we're using AI Foundry to build AI systems. Then we have the Azure AI Foundry resource. Okay, so now let's get into explaining where this came from and what does it mean. So we're gonna take some time in this video to really get deep into understanding this, and I do highly recommend that we do pay attention, because if you want to avoid the confusion, then you really want to understand what these things mean. So building AI systems back in the day used to be messy. So that means that everything that you were doing, every tool that you were working with, you were having to work with it in its own portal. So something like Azure AI Search, you would go to the Azure AI Search portal, right? Or it's not really a portal, but it's a place that looks like a portal where you can go and do stuff related to Azure AI Search. The same way was true for things like the document intelligence, speech services. There's those things still even in there today, but that's how messy it was. It was almost like Azure just thinks of with an idea for a feature, just add it to their AI Foundry as a service. The same way they were doing with things like virtual machines. So that ended up having too many portals, and I'm saying everything was just messy. So document intelligence, this is how you would get to it. I'm just demonstrating. So you click on here, and then you would open it up in the overview. And then you will go to Document Intelligence Studio. And then this will lead you into a place that looks like this, where you can see that looks like another different portal, right? And then the speech service was the same. You go to the speech service portal, or the studio, as they call it. But this was messy, and there was no way of really unifying things together. And one of the problems was things like cost, right? So you'd know that you have to have a cost for document intelligence. You only have to have a cost for the speech service and all of these other the rest of the services we have. And you also have, so the managing that was really a tough thing to do. So that's when they come up with the concept of Azure AI Foundry. So Azure AI Foundry, I want you to view it as basically the control room for AI. So you don't deploy it, it's just a portal. This is where you design your AI systems. This is where you manage your AI projects. This is where you connect things like the models, the tools, and the data, and then you control security also and access on the AI in the AI Foundry portal. So just to make that simple, this is how it looks like. We've all been to the AI Foundry portal. ai.azure.com. This leads to the AI Foundry. So this is the AI Foundry portal, right? This is the AI Foundry portal, but but we do also have a blade we also have a blade. Just cancel this out now. But basically, this is how the Microsoft Foundry looks like when you go to the overview page. Okay, we're gonna explain what's inside of it in a second. Now, you also have this blade in Azure where you click on Microsoft Foundry, it'll take you to this Micro Foundry blade or directory. And this is where you would see these related services. Now, these two things work in conjunction together or support each other. The Microsoft Foundry, where you do the building, the designing, and the managing. The Azure Foundry is also sometimes when you need to deploy the actual service that will be doing your AI system or your AI stuff. So that's AI Foundry is a platform experience, right, that provides a unified interface for AI system design. And what is that? Microsoft Foundry. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Project organization, agent orchestration. So this is where you deploy your agents. To integration, this is where you integrate your tools, things like that, right? So it's not as a resource, but it's actually a portal, right? You cannot deploy it; it just exists, just like the Azure portal, all right? And if you actually come up here, you can see that this is AI Foundry. Having said that, we now have something called the AI Foundry resource. Right, so we just define Microsoft AI Foundry as the portal or the blade we see in here for as a control room. Okay, now we have something called the AI Foundry resource. And this is where most people get confused because now you're saying there's Microsoft Foundry as a portal and now there's a resource, right? So Microsoft AI Foundry and then Microsoft AI Foundry a resource. Now, I want you to think of it this way. Microsoft Word is an application where you can do what? You can create, manage, edit, share all those things, right? Word documents. So the AI Foundry portal in this blade I just explained, I want you to think of it as Microsoft Word, a software. Now, an AI Foundry resource is a document inside of Word. Perfect. I think that is explaining it a bit better. In other words, the AI Foundry is the platform, and then the AI Foundry resource is the thing you deploy so that the platform can work. Now, AI Foundry resource is a real Azure resource. It really provides subscription binding, which means it's binded to a subscription. It's billing and pricing tier, which means there's billing for the resource based on what you want to do. Then it also provides things like identity and access control, feature availability, compliance boundaries. Now we know this is how virtual machines looks like. They have binding to the subscription, or this is how resource groups looks like, right? So I'm just giving an example. Those are examples. So that's basically what an AI Foundry is, right? So it binds the subscription, and without this resource, the AI Foundry portal itself does not have anything to attach, right? So things like projects, which we will explain, will not be able to exist. Agents cannot be deployed. We need an AI Foundry resource. Now, so what is the difference between AI Foundry and AI Foundry resource? So what it is, AI Foundry is a platform, right? AI Foundry is a platform. So AI Foundry is a platform. What is an Azure AI Foundry resource? An Azure AI Foundry resource is an Azure resource. So it is deployed by you. The difference, it is region specific. It controls billing, right? It controls identity. It hosts projects. So that's the Azure AI Azure Foundry resource. You can read through this information. It also will help you understand the difference between the AI Foundry portal itself and then the AI Foundry resource. Okay, so this is just a diagram that's trying to illustrate that theory. Now, one additional thing is that AI Foundry is global, right? The portal. But AI Foundry resources are controlled, scoped, and governed. They are for the company. So when you start deploying systems, you need an AI Foundry resource. All right. So if I open the portal, for example, I will show you the same way that these are the AI Foundry resources. If I go to under Foundry, I get to see the AI Foundry resource. I can open one and it will show me other things that we'll be talking about in a second. So an AI Foundry resource can host multiple projects, right? So we will explain what a project is, but just think of it as a folder, right, for now. Or it can host those things, bundle them up, and is tied to one region. So when you actually deploy a resource, it actually is tied to a location. Now, what is a Azure AI Foundry project inside an AI Foundry resource? So now we all understand what AI Foundry resource is. So what is AI Foundry resource, right? Project inside an AI Foundry resource. So an AI Foundry project is a workspace, right? It's basically a workspace. So this is where AI systems live. This is where the agents are created. So when you then say, I want to create an agent, so you're going to understand a few things so far, which is that you're going to need to use the Microsoft AI Foundry portal or Blade in Azure to create an AI Foundry resource in a certain location. Then you create a project, which is your workspace, so that you can go ahead and deploy AI systems. So this is where they live. This is where they are created. This is where the tools are connected. This is where the models are used. When we say model, we're talking about things like GPT-5, GPT-4, or Mini, all of those things, the brains. Right. This is also where data is referenced. So if there's data that needs to be connected to an agent, then that is where you see it. Okay, it's in the project. So the professional definition for that is that a project is an AI Foundry is basically a logical boundary used to organize AI workloads. Okay, it's a boundary. So what? It's a boundary that is used to organize your AI workloads, to isolate your configurations, to control access, and then to manage system level settings. So you need to deploy a project to be able to go ahead and create an agent, for example, right? So it's a logical boundary. It's just a boundarization, or it's just a workspace. Okay, so if you go inside any of the AI foundries, you will notice that there's a project section which you can click and find what projects are in that particular AI Foundry resource. Okay, as you can see in this particular one, there's a project called AI Foundry Pro, and it's sitting under the AI Foundry resource. All right, so now what is the difference between a resource and a project, right? So a resource is basically the infrastructure, right? So the project is a logical workspace. A resource has billing, right? It can be built. So the AI Foundry resource can be built by billing, right? And the project does not have a billing. It's a workspace. The resource has a fixed region, right? The AI Foundry, the region, if you say it's in Central US, that's where it is. But a workspace just inherits, right, from the resource. Inherits what? Inherits the region. So that's basically what the project is. Now, where do AI agents then fit in? Where do we start to see AI agents? Just get me into the AI agent, right? You can see agents once you get into your AI Foundry. How do you get there? So, like, let's say if I wanted to go to this project, if I click on it, I can then decide to go to the AI Foundry, and then it will open the AI Foundry. What AI Foundry? Portal, right? inside this AI project workspace. This AI project workspace is inside the Azure AI Foundry resource, right? And then I can go to agent, and then I can go ahead and create an agent. So what is an agent? So an agent is basically a worker, right? It talks to models. What models? The brains. So it calls tools. What tools? Things like search service, document intelligence, speech service. Those are the tools. It follows instructions. You can give it instructions. I want you to do this. Why? Because it's a worker. It completes tasks. So it does things, which means things change, right? After something is, you ask it to do something. So an AI agent is an orchestrated AI execution unit that combines the large language models, tools, memory, instructions in the context. So they're deployed inside projects. As you can see, we are inside a project to be able to go ahead and create an agent, which obviously you need to select the model which you want it to use. Okay. So how AI Foundry fits into all of this rule system. So the AI Foundry platform is where we design and govern. I keep on repeating this because I want you to get the difference, so that you avoid the confusion. The AI Foundry is where the platform, right? The portal where we do design and governance overall. Then the AI Foundry resource. What resource? If I go here and I go under our Foundry, I will see the resources. This is the foundation. This is where building occurs. Then inside the resource, this is where we see the project, right? Which is the workspace, right? And inside the project is where we see things like agent, which is an execution, and things like models, which is like your GPT-5, GPT-4, blah, blah, blah. This is where we see tools, which is like things like your search, your functions, if you're going to use functions and APIs, right? Then your data, which is your blob, your SQL, your AI search. Then the security, which is the identity, the keys that are used for these things to talk together, and rollback access control if you're using that, right? So not all AI features are available in all regions. Sometimes when you actually open the portal, if you deploy in an unsupported region, you get this error. Not all regions are yet available to be used with the AI Foundry, right? So the process is still going to add more and more locations. Okay, then what then is a hub, right? We've understood all the other things. What is the hub? What is the AI hub now? So the AI hub is where models lives, all right? What are models? Things like GPT-4.5, GPT-5, GPT-4 or mini, those things, right? The brains. This is where they are hosted. And this is where is inference endpoints, versioning, module lifecycle management, because these models are always being upgraded. So we need things like versioning to control the models and stuff like that. You also need to have an AI hub if you're going to use a model in your agent orchestration or development. So what you want to do is you want to open your hub once you create it, and then when you click on launch Azure portal, Azure AI Foundry, you're going to get to this, right? So which looks like this. So this is management center, and then you have hub overview, or you can also have users, and then you can have models and endpoints, and then you can have connected resources, right? So the hub is basically there for that. Now, an AI hub is where the brains live. Like I said, you can't run an AI system without the brain. The brain is the model, right? So AI hub is the model home, right? This is where they live. And the professional definition for it is just that in AI hub is the model hosting and lifecycle layer in Azure AI architecture. So this is what's responsible for hosting foundation models, OpenAI, Phi, Minstrel, right? Providing inference endpoints, managing model versions, right? Controlling model availability by region, enforcing quotas and limits, right? Applying governance and access control. So without it, there's no way to deploy a model. Because remember, not all systems just use one model, the common model GPT-5. People in companies go and fine tune those models to work for them, not just for general work, right? So you need a place to be able to do all those things. Now, AI hubs are mandatory for production AI systems. So why does AI Foundry resource not host models directly? So this is an intentional design. Microsoft separates orchestration from execution, right? So the AI hub is the models plus inference, right? But AI Foundry is where you have the system design and orchestration. The project, again, we say the workspace is the logical AI system, and then the AI Foundry resource is where you handle governance and billing. So why is that? Because models change fast. Governance must be strict, right? Enterprises need separation for concerns. Regions have different compliance rules. All of those things is what caused them to go ahead and create the AI hub. So that separation makes your AI system scalable, secure, and enterprise ready. So do you really need all these things? Yes. So, but each of them has a specific job, right? So you can think of it in this hospital analogy, which is that the AI Foundry is your hospital management system, right? And then the AI Foundry resource is building and utilities, okay? And then the project is a medical department, for example. And then your AI hub are the brains, which is maybe you can think of them as the doctors. And the agent becomes the specialist doctor doing the work. Okay, so that's it. I hope that we have understood the differences between those things that we just mentioned. That we need to have what to use the AI Foundry portal, ai.azure.com, to do AI deployment and manage everything. And then we need an AI Foundry resource, which is going to allow us to handle things like billing and governance and inside the portal. Once we have the resource, then we go ahead and create a project inside that resource, right? And a project which is basically a logical workspace, right? And then we're going to have our resources inside that workspace. But if we're going to use an agent, we also need to create an AI hub. Okay. So brilliant. Let's now meet in the next video.